Michelle, thank you so much for your time and for being willing to talk with us today.
No problem.
I see that you purchased the Cubii, about a couple of months back, and you started using it about a month back. It's great to see that you're enthusiastically using it. But if you had to tell us, what your idea of a healthy lifestyle is, would love to hear from you on that.
Outside of the typical diet with healthy, well balanced meal and exercise, I really think it's about staying in motion. For me, at my age, I've recently turned 50, and with my job, I'm a lot more sedentary than I ever have been before. I'm in the healthcare industry. I'm used to kind of hustling and bustling around the halls of the hospital, and now I'm in a management position where I'm kind of locked at my desk, either on the computer or on WebEx and conference calls, and that's been a huge adjustment for me. So I've really made a commitment to myself to kind of get up, leave my desk, walk around, and so just kind of discovering the QB has really changed my life at work in terms of staying mobile and being kind of in constant motion, which is something that I've really missed in the past year.
Great. And why QB? How did you come across it, and what made you really go with this versus some other solution out there?
What I do when I go home is I get on my elliptical every night. It's easy on my knees, and I don't have low back problems when I use my elliptical like I do with the treadmill. So when I came to work here at a research institute, we had treadmill desks that we could use, which were great. But again, it was a little bit more of a pounding on my knees and my lower back. So I remember last year, it might have been 2014, reading an article in the Huffington Post about Cubii and about it being an elliptical. And I was like, that's fantastic. My knees aren't going to hit the bottom of my desk or the top of my desk. I can sit there and not have to worry about my lower back. And I kind of forgot about it until recently one of our associates at a stand up desk got a stepper, so she has to stand up and do it, but it's an actual kind of a stepper elliptical, and that doesn't really work for me because I don't use the stand-up desk. So I remembered reading something about an under-the-desk elliptical in the Huffington Post. I went back and Googled it back in December, kind of read the whole story about how it had progressed, and a shipment was getting ready to come out. And I talked to my husband and said, we need to get one of these. And he's like, well, go ahead and get two, and I'll try it at home, and you try it at work. So that's what we did.
Great. And I know that you mentioned you use one at work and then one you've been using while you're watching the TV on your
Yeah.
couch, right? That's great. And how's your experience been of using them? I'm sure it differs when you use it at home from when you use it at work. So what are some of the things you've seen? Are you seeing any benefits? Would love to hear your QB story.
I have really seen benefits. I didn't ever go into it as thinking of it as a replacement for my exercise and my workout. That's not what I considered. I think of this as like a supplement to it. And like I said, it gives me that feeling of constantly being in motion instead of locked at my desk. So it's been phenomenal. The biggest surprise I've had is that I've had to crank down my resistance because it really can be a workout. I had it at about 4 or 5 when I first got it, and I was actually getting into a sweat. And I'm like, I can't do this at the office. I can't sweat at the office. So I cranked it down to 1 or 2 so that I'm kind of getting the benefits and the movement, but not, like working out. So that was a big surprise to me that it actually is exercise. At work, at home, I have the resistance up a lot higher so that it is more of a workout, and I actually find myself reaching like a higher heart rate, and kind of cuts down my guilt factor of sitting in front of the TV for an hour when I feel like, well, I'm actually doing something while I'm watching TV. So it's been great in both places, a different experience in both places, but really good.
Oh, that's great. And do you find yourself using the mobile app pretty frequently to track what you're doing?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I like that feedback. In fact, one day I left my cell phone at home, And I still did my Cubii, but I was so bummed because I was like, oh, I like to see. I mean, I just get so excited. And then the associates will come up and say, how many miles are you up to now? And with my Fitbit, my goal has always been the 10,000 steps, a little less than 5 miles. So I set 5 miles as my goal. So I've been so excited when I go to like 8 and 11. And so I do. I love that feedback. I love to look and see how I'm progressing.
Yeah,
It's good.
that's good. I think, that's one of the reasons we included it in it because I think more than anything else, it keeps you honest.
Yeah,
It's like a good reality check because sometimes I think we become delusional and we think we are doing more than what we are. So I think it really keeps you in check,
it's
which is great. And Michelle, if you had to share, I know you mentioned you recently changed the structure of your jobs, you're selling a lot more. For 2016, what are your aspirations for living a healthier life? Do you have any goals for yourself? Anything you want to do to improve your health?
I do. I would like to. I've kind of committed last year where I wanted to at least have 5 miles of movement every day. So this year, my husband and I both committed that we want to go to 10 miles every day, including weekends. We just want to constantly stay in motion and move as much as we can.
Yeah. Well, I think it shows. I mean, when you mentioned you're 50, I couldn't tell that. So that's
Thank you.
commendable. Great. Thank you so much for your time today, Michelle. We really appreciate your feedback and all your thoughts. I think it really helps motivate some of our other users and customers when they see, people and the real problems they face. So thank you so much once again.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.